name is Miles Davis. My mom's maiden name is Miles, which is how I came across that name, which I've been very lucky that way. It's a very recognizable name. When it came to my business, it was very difficult to come up with a .com. Couldn't do milesdavis.com, so I had to come up with something a little bit different. The aesthetics of what I do on canvas with paint, usually acrylic. I also draw a lot. Usually deal with contemporary aesthetics, so I had to come up with some kind of contemporary name. And the name we came up with was Massive Burn Studios. The reason for that is the Massive Burn kind of can go in two directions in a spiritual context. It can go into like the fires of hell type stuff, or it can go into the tongues of fire from the Holy Spirit. So for me, that really kind of delved into the inspiration and the fire of trying to succeed in a creative business. So we thought Massive Burn was very fitting for a business name. So we went with massiveburn.com. Been painting since I was 5 years old, and I was lucky enough to meet my wife, my future wife at the time, of course, in 2004, right when I graduated college and moved to Atlanta. And yeah, ever since then we've been going strong. And we started in 2005, is when we started Massive Burn Studios. The business has been great. It's been growing year over year. Okay. We've done some book covers, done some CD covers for local bands. Well, actually, I would say local, as far away as Texas. We've done some stuff for some gold recording artists. One of the rock groups most notable would probably be Seven Dust. It's a rock band out of Atlanta. It's been around since the 90s. Yeah, just been going strong, and we're actually developing a new LLC now outside of Massive Burn Studios, trying to diversify into more of the mass appeal market for children. We actually have a work for hire author right now, currently penning our first kids book, so I'm looking forward to working on that a little bit. In recent years, mostly after the economic crash, I've become more politically aware. I wouldn't say politically involved necessarily, but just reading newspaper articles and trying to educate myself, being in my early 30s, you know, talking with my now wife and hopefully future kids and trying to just educate myself on the world around me. That being the case, my artwork has gone that direction, and so the fact that the defunding of arts, not just visual arts, but music and everything else in schools is definitely a concern for me. I really feel like children of all walks of life can really develop better emotionally, better intellectually, if they're able to have an outlet, I guess, for that teenage angst or their curiosities or what have you. And I think they're really downplaying the importance of a lot of that, from my understanding. Which for me is very detrimental, I think, to our future, not only as a country, but as a human race. Okay. Which sounds very grandiose, but I do believe that most definitely is the case. Something that sets apart my work from other work in the world is most importantly, it comes from me. I have a very unusual background in the sense that I was born premature. I actually apparently flatlined for a short while and was brought back as an infant. I lived in an incubator for about a month right after I was born. That being the case, my dad was in the military as well. I come from a divorced family when I was 4. I traveled the world by the time I was 7, between households, because my dad was in the military, like I mentioned. And yeah, about every 2 or 3 years I was developing new friends, developing in new environments and trying to grow in those environments. I think what that did is it made me very knowledgeable of who I was as a human being and very independent as a person at a very young age, much younger than most young children anyway. I was already drawing by the time I was 5 or 6, and it really kept me company throughout my lifetime. And I just never stopped, so it naturally developed. It wasn't any kind of concentrated effort on skills until I got older, but it was something that really kept me company. So with that, my influences are very modern. I was able to incorporate comic books, Game Boy, when Game Boy first came out, and Nintendo, and all that kind of stuff. I was a big comic book fan. Mm-hmm. All that feeds in from modern culture. So those aesthetics were very powerful to me. So as I developed as an artist, I wanted to use those aesthetics as a voice for my generation, hopefully in the future, but use subject matter that I think is a little bit more timeless, that's been used in the past, such as spirituality, angels, demons, religion, and more recently, as I mentioned before, politics. Right. So I'm trying to go in that direction a little bit and push my subject matter in that direction. So hopefully my originality would come from my own interpretation and filtering that through my own life. Other services that we actually offer to our clients, my wife is a graphic designer and a web designer, so I was very, very fortunate to come across her. She found me painting in a basement, really. I had just moved to Atlanta, and she said, let's start a business, so we did that. So obviously, as your business mind develops outside of your creative mind, you have to start questioning what you offer your clients. And merchandising, obviously, is a big draw. So we did necklaces, and we've designed some posters that we're hoping to launch in 2014. We've had some before. We've experienced different websites, Cafe Press being one, Etsy and eBay, places like that we've talked about. So as far as our merchandising is concerned, we've been trying to expand our merchandising efforts, and then on top of that, we're currently developing a studio book after 10 years of business. We've been in business since 2005, so in 2015, we're hoping to put out a studio portfolio book. So we're looking forward, hoping that goes well. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we have the new, more mass appeal children's market that we're trying to corner with the new LLC that we're developing with more of a cartoony, simplistic approach, coloring books, children's books, things of that nature. So that's the most current stuff. We have other ideas in the future, but I don't want to toot my horn.
Yeah.
We got to work on that, one step at a time. So,
Okay.
But it's been going well. The model actually changes. It really does change with, I wouldn't say it changes every week. I mean, it's a model that we usually keep for a year or two as we kind of shift focuses and adapt to the market.
Okay.
As I feel any smart business would.
Very true.
You adapt to what your clientele is kind of mentioning to you over time. And you hear enough of that, then you have to react to that. So right now, our most current one that we're still developing, and this is not one of those pieces, but some other paintings we're talking about trying to sell happiness, promote happiness and smiles and joy. I know when I first started, I was an artist and we first developed our business, there was a lot of latent teenage angst and that anxiety of becoming a fine artist on your own. You get out of school, you're like, what am I going to do with my life? And you're trying to eat. So there's a lot of angst there. But as we become more secure in our business, I think it becomes more of a social responsibility trying to expand your repertoire and trying to hopefully send positivity out into the world so that people can help generate that in their own lives, hopefully, or inspire that in their lives. So that most recently is our more recent motto, and I'm developing shows in that direction currently. So.